Okay, let's start our next session. The downstream, we have two tracks now. It's upstream and downstream, and this track is downstream oil and gas and the best case studies and practices for the refining and petrochemical industry. So we have four interesting presentations, and then of course questions and answers at the end of the session. And of course, we want to encourage all the attendees to be active. And this is your opportunity to ask the questions from the specialists who already employed digital technologies at their refineries and plants, or been working with one of those clients. So now I will pass the word to Josette Sa, the partner and the global head of Downstream of Bain. So Josette, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Pleasure to be here. We will have a panel that is very interesting. The title of the panel is Lessons Learned from a Decade of Digital Transformations. And we have some very interesting cases for you today. And thankfully, of great experiences in digital transformations. With you here, we have Ahmed Al-Zarani from Satwarp. Also George Elmir from Schneider Electric, and Tibor Komrowski from Mall Group. Okay, go. If we can start with the presentations. Okay, let's start. So throughout the panel here, we have the different presentations from the speakers. They will take about 10 minutes. And that will allow us to have 20 minutes of question and answers at the end of the panel. You can send questions to us at any time. They will be compiled, and I'll ask the questions to the panelists at the end of the panel. Okay, so very briefly, just doing some introduction to lay out the groundwork for the cases that you're going to be watching and spoken about through our speakers. First, who we are. Bain is a global strategy consulting company, one of the leading consulting companies, top 3 in the world. We cover all relevant sectors, economic sectors in the world, and one of the very important ones is oil and gas, and specifically downstream. But going now to digital transformations, I think the very important thing about digital transformations is the amount of frustration there is among the majority of users. Because when we look at what are the use cases, I think we've known the use cases and what could be applied to the downstream sector for more than 5 years. Right? Things about predictive maintenance, automation, digital twinning, all that. But when it comes to execution, the vast majority of digital transformations have generated a lot of frustration. And why is that? And what is different about the cases that we're going to see today? I think that the key thing here is a lot of companies, as opposed to having a strategy enabled by digital, started a digital strategy. So was about digital for digital, and embracing a number of use cases at the same time without a clear notion of a program. And that resulted in solutions that, for example, worked in one refinery but didn't work in another. All sorts of problems in relation to using all the data that was available, because they came in different formats and didn't interconnect and communicate with each other. And the most successful digital transformations that we saw, this is an actual example for a client. The most successful ones were the ones that started with the company's business agenda. Right. So what was important for the company in terms of its leadership and differentiation in the sector, and specifically within the industrial and refining realm, it started from operational excellence. So striving to achieve operational excellence and knowing what was important inside operational excellence is slowly but surely embedding digital into that. So having digital as an enabler of operational excellence and best-in-class performance, eventually driving to full digital transformation, right? And what is the way to structure this? How you do this migration from just operational excellence to embed in digital? It comes again from having a clear strategy and roadmap, but also at the end of the day, having a very clear idea of what are the tech and other organizational process enablers that will enable you to go through a successful digital transformation, and through that being able to mobilize and engage your organization in a way that drives you to successful transformations. And I think what we will see today from the panelists are stories that started from that, from how to improve your operations in the first place, and how they drove success through that, through through digital enablement inside those components. So now I'll invite Ahmed Al-Zarani to talk a little bit about his experience in Softwarp. Ahmed, floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you.
Can we switch presentations here?
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it's a pleasure to participate in this great summit. And thank you for attending our presentation and our session, where I would like to discuss about improving plant integrity, etc., with digitalization through 3D model and laser scanning applications. We will go to overall view of Softwarp refinery and the Softwarp digitalization transformations, how we had built the 3D platform. We'll give you a little bit some information about the 3D laser scanning technologies and the integration of this technology with the fitness for surface, and we will conclude by the utilization of digitalized technologies. So Softwarp is a smart world-class refinery located in Jubail Industrial Area, Eastern Province of Saudi Arabia. It's a global partnership between Saudi Aramco and Total. Softwarp processing 460 kbd of heavy Arabian crude, full conversion integrated with petrochemical, high-value products complying with the most stringent international specifications. Softwarp complex containing more than 5,000 assets, 2,000 pipeline circuits, and 6,000 safety valves. Softwarp digital transformation objectives is improving Softwarp performance and agility to adapt faster changes and sustain digital transformation, keeping Softwarp attractive and leading refinery. And Softwarp digital transformation guidelines is to have a full cyber governance. Digital transformation will contribute to improve employees and community, environment, health and safety, evaluation and growth, excellence and resilience, which is the plant integrity, where we will discuss more about it in this presentation. It's the main body of this presentation. Building the 3D platform, Softwarp had adapted the digitalization since construction phase, where all the construction engineers documents, 3D CAD systems, BNIDs, instrument data, drawings were submitted in a digitalized documents, and this is what we call a golden opportunity to transfer it to one 3D asset virtualization platform. This platform, the beneficiary of this platform is operation, HSSE, health, safety, security, and environment, maintenance, process engineering, and inspection. Since my home department is inspection, I would like to give just an example how we are using this platform. First thing is the placement and managing corrosion monitoring location. I think it's not work, so I will just go manually to the last slide. Sorry for that, I think it's not working here. So as you can see, this is piping circuits, or what we call the corrosion loop, and this is the connected equipment. So this one, the blue point or the number, this is the CML, or what we call the corrosion monitoring location, where we are taking thickness frequently to monitor and to see if there is any metal loss. So we are using this platform to identify all the thickness monitoring location in all our corrosion loops and all our assets. And recently display and measurements. Sorry, again, it's not working the PowerPoint, but go quickly to the last slide. So as you can see here, we also have the ability to overview all the assets and underground piping, even if the piping have insulation or not. We can also see the vicinity of the equipment. For example, if we have an inspection scope in a certain location on the nozzle, for example, we will be able to identify how far it is from the ground level. Is there any platform nearby, or we need, for example, a support to get scaffolding or insulation removal. So 3D laser scanning technology is nothing but converting an actual database and of the assets and the plant configuration from the field data to then we capture this field data to convert it to active motor. And this is what we call the process digitalization. It's simply a mirror of reality. Integration of the 3D scanning technology and fitness for service. But first, what is the fitness for service? As a proactive measure in setup and industry best practice, any critical findings or anticipated failures need to be addressed in order to evaluate and mitigate the risk. One of these measures is to conduct fitness for service approach. So recently, we had faced two critical findings. The first one was a bulge regenerator. The challenge here, it was the bulging area was all over the regenerator. It's not on a localized location. Second challenge we have is the access, because not all area having a platform, and as you can see, some of the areas we have instrument connections or nozzles. And this leads to incompetence of conventional technique. So as, let's say, out of thinking box, so what we did is we had did the 3D model, and we had combined the 3D model of reality correspond with the original 3D cloud point we have. After we combined, we will be able to compare, and we will be able to measure the length, width, and the depth of the bulging area. These data considered as an essential data input for the fitness for service approach. This FE analysis, finite element analysis, give us a confidence to take a decision to continue operating the units till turnaround. At that time, it was almost 4 months before the major turnaround. So we have confidence to keep operating the unit till that turnaround, and we had avoid business impact. Second case, it was about buckled piping. It's a 48-inch piping. The challenge we face here to get a measurement of this buckle to go for fitness for service, it was the congested area. That's lead not to go through a conventional technique of taking measurements. So we had go through the 3D scanning technology, and as you can see here, we had a different section of the bulge location. The one in green circle, it is the standard piping, and the one in the whites here, it is our current condition, where we'll be able to measure the ovality of the piping. So this was during turnaround, and during turnaround or shutdowns, you need to have a swift feedback, and you need to make a decision with the quality and confident, either to replace it or not. And after we go for fitness for service, with this approach, we will be able to take a decision to replace the line during the shutdown. The utilization of digitalized technologies, it will improve the asset evaluation. It will increase the plant integrity. And this point, as I just showed you, where we be able to evaluate the condition of the regenerator and the 48-inch pipe and other cases as well. In this case, also you will optimize your inspection monitoring cost, because you will have a specific location where you will take, for example, thickness measurement location with the CMOs. It will give you overall a view of your corrosion loop and assets, and not necessarily to go, for example, to scan the full corrosion loop, and as well as effective document communications. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or points to highlight, you can ask your question and points at the end of the session. Thank you so much. Joseph, come back to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Can I say something? Because I've been listening to your presentation, but we have some technical issues here, a little bit of a problem. So that's why there are no questions there. Let me wait. Let's wait for a few minutes and see if we can resolve the issue, or just to continue, and we'll record this session and then we'll play it again, if that's okay.
I'm not sure. The suggestion is that we stop now or that we continue?
I think it's better just to continue, but as I said, there wouldn't be any questions, so we will record everything and we'll play it later on.
Oh, okay, cool. So well, we'll deal with it. Maybe until we get to the end of the session, and the glitch will be resolved, and we'll get questions again. So
okay, yes. So yes, if you can continue and to the end, to the rest of the speakers.
Fantastic. Again, Ahmed Alzarani, thank you so much. Very interesting case. Let's switch to George Elmir from Schneider Electric.
Good day, everybody. I'm very glad to be here with you today. My name is George Elmir, and I lead the oil and gas and petrochemicals business for Schneider in the Middle East and Africa regions. Well, Jose, you've mentioned today the industry is facing several challenges, and more than ever, profitability, I would say, is at stake for the downstream oil and gas companies. And my aim today is to share with the audience some strategies enabled by power and process integration that can help address the profitability and the different transformation challenges. Allow me first to touch a word about Schneider Electric. We are a technology company whose core mission is to deliver energy and automation digital solutions to drive efficiency and sustainability across several industries, several infrastructures in the buildings and different industries. So we're roughly 140,000 people worldwide, with a range of best-in-class connected products, edge control solutions, software and digital applications widely used across industries. When we look at the world today and the challenges we have, or if I may say disruption, the world is facing today, everybody is talking about buzzwords, everybody is talking about digital, everybody is talking about more and more today energy transition to address the climate challenge. But the core component or the core message that every industry and the downstream industry needs to address is how to transform towards more efficiency and how to drive profitable operations of their assets. And efficiency is the fastest answer to this challenge, okay, to drive both profit and a sustainable future for an enterprise. If we think about efficiency, we can see two main pillars around efficiency. The first one is obviously addressing the energy efficiency part, and that links very much to reducing the cost of energy, reducing the usage of energy, and at the same time reducing the emissions while we work on that. At the same time, when we look at the second pillar, which is how do we bring improved process efficiency to the asset, we're looking more and more towards increased productivity, asset performance, and ultimately at sustainability being looked from different angles, I would say, whether on the safety side or on the emissions side. But there is one thing that has to be said here is that both are impossible to decouple. When you look at efficiency on your energy, you obviously need to tackle your process. And when you look at the efficiency of your process, you need to make sure that you have enough reliable and safe energy to drive the performance of your process once you change your set points. So overall, we generally believe that the integration of power and process by leveraging industrial Internet of Things will drive a single view of the asset, of the energy management, of automation, safety monitoring, in order to reduce both CapEx and OpEx significantly. It will enable, during COVID times, remote and centralized monitoring, analytics, okay, that will drive faster and better decisions for the operators. So once I have spoken about efficiency, energy efficiency, and process efficiency, and the first integration of power and process, let's take, I would say, let's picture efficiency as a mission towards breaking existing silos within an organization. And by breaking those silos in the organization, we're going to enable faster decisions, and we're going to enable better value creation for the downstream sector. And the three other integrations that will allow to break silos are the following. When you look at the asset life cycle and at the phases of design build on one side and the other ones of operations and maintenance on the other side, I mean, it is well known that we have quite a big wall between these two elements. And by breaking that wall and enabling the flow of data and information from design and build stages to operation and maintain stages, we enable value creation, and we enable a better look not only on CapEx or only on OpEx, but at the total cost of operations for a downstream asset. The second silo I would like to address through another integration is integrating the shop floor, if you want, or the endpoint to the cloud. And the cloud is a great tool today to make all data available faster to enable better decision-making by operators. It is really a matter of enabling the operators to take educated decisions to drive process performance by having the elements available on the cloud. And this is the beauty of the cloud, is the ability to aggregate data, analyze it, and making it available to the operators that need to drive the performance of the plant. Apologies. And the third integration I would like to cover here to drive value is an integration from a one-site management to an enterprise management. And the great example of that is what ADNOC has recently done with Panorama, by creating a command center that encompasses and gets visibility over the whole value chain of the company. So the company can work in an integrated manner and have an integrated value chain and supply chain to drive better decisions as an enterprise. Once I have spoken about these silos and integrations, let's take a further zoom on an asset, or let's look at this distillation unit or its digital twin. On one side, we have the automation, the process automation, and the control systems that are connected to the different transmitters, okay, driving the performance of the unit or the overall asset. And on the other side, we have the power system, which is energizing all the actuators, be it the pumps, the motors, or the other units. Both are closely related because the process drives decisions on the speed of the motor, on the flow, on the torque that is needed, etc. But yet, when we look at this discipline, when we design a project, when we implement a project, the power and the process disciplines remain quite separate. And we do strongly believe that to reach the next level of efficiency and unveil further synergies, the oil and gas industry needs to look at breaking the silo and integrating more power and process, because they cannot be looked into in a separate manner. Once we have looked at this, we would be mainly addressing 5 areas of benefits, okay, coming from the integration of power and process. Obviously, we won't be looking in a separate manner. Will the best CapEx drive the most optimized OpEx for an asset? Or if I design the most optimized OpEx, am I sure to drive an acceptable CapEx for my company? Or should I be more looking towards my total expenditure cost? And what are the areas I would like to drive through the integration of power and process? And these areas can be summarized into 5 buckets, I would say. The first bucket the industry has to look at is how to maximize the efficiency around capital projects, okay? And by unifying the process models and the plant models life cycle into a digital environment, and Ahmed has touched on part of this through his digitization example, the industry is capable to mitigate the investment risk and drive a more efficient capital cost by driving reductions up to 15%. By looking at asset reliability and performance, the industry would look at increasing the uptime and ensuring that no unplanned shutdowns are occurring or hitting the production. On a third manner, when you look at the increased process energy sustainability with the whole discussion around emissions and sustainability, are we able to design? Let me be very ambitious, but also realistic. How can we design net zero assets for tomorrow? How can we reduce the impact or the process energy intensity to ensure that we operate in a sustainable manner? And that would not only impact the emissions, but it would impact also the cost of energy that we're spending on an asset, and drive a cost reduction roughly of 2 to 5% on an asset. The last topic has been explored across the industry in several manners, is across the value chain of an asset. How can I maximize my yield, and how can I implement the right strategies across the entire supply chain, from trading to planning, scheduling, operations, and product distribution, to make sure that all this value chain is quite optimized and that I'm leveraging the synergies across my entire value chain. The last area of benefits I would see here, but it's not the least one, is the digital enablement. And Jose, you touched a point which is important around people within the digital transformation. How do I bring the right digital tools, the right data to my operators to drive the performance of the assets? Okay, how do I make these data available in a front manner to make decisions that would impact the performance of an asset? These are, I will not spend a lot of time here, but the typical benefits in terms of CapEx on electrical instrumentation and control range for up to 20% on the overall cost, and that's a direct cost. It does not even touch the indirect cost on the overall asset. Oil and gas companies can look at energy usage improvement for up to 10%, mainly through electrification. Asset performance management will drive downtime reduction by up to 15% using predictive and prescriptive analytics. And the overall approach will drive a profitability of up to 3 points improvement for oil and gas downstream industries. I would like to pause here, and I see that the animation is not working. That's a well-loaded slide in my opinion. But in order to drive performance today, we have streamlined 8 integrated power and process strategies, ranging from unified engineering asset information, so how to digitize information, how an end-to-end integration of conceptual feed, detailed design into an overall environment that handles process simulation, engineering, 1D, 2D, 3D, from one single data hub with bidirectional information flow, how multidisciplinary teams can collaborate in real time, and how do we create the data model for the digital twin with a single version of the truth. And that is not only on the engineering side, that is not only creating a digital twin on the asset performance side, but how do I make my digital twin alive across the full life cycle of my asset, from feasibility to operations and maintenance. The second areas are around optimizing the different electrical and control architectures. They are about running a unified simulation across the life cycle to optimize what can be done on startup, early detection of faults, of issues, and making sure that we have no hurdles while commissioning and executing a project. Looking at integrating more and more the power and process systems. We all know that a lot of interfaces exist between both disciplines. And when we discuss about disciplines and gateways, we run into a lot of discussions about data conversion, the same version of the truth, communication, etc. So how do we make these two systems talk and operate in a seamless manner while implementing from design and asset performance management strategy, digitizing your assets, digitizing your rotating equipment, your electrical assets, etc., and driving a collaboration center and an expertise center to consult on potential issues on your assets. Last but not least, I've touched base already on this. The two last elements are around driving energy costs down by looking at energy optimization for the process and improving the value chain of an existing asset. So What I would conclude with is we can drive efficiency and performance, but not by doing better the things we already did. If we are looking to tap into the next level of efficiency, if we are looking at transforming the business models that we have to make sure we tap into more synergies and better profitability, we need to break some of the most important silos we have across our businesses to enable collaboration and drive the performance of the overall organization. Thank you.
Excellent, George. Very interesting use case, very comprehensive, and very important on energy efficiency when energy transition is upon us, right? So a very, very important topic. So without further ado, let me invite Tibor Komrowski from MOL Group. He will give us a very interesting use case touching on some of the enabling factors that are needed to get the full benefit of digital transformation. Tibor, the floor is yours.
Hello. Hello, welcome everybody. My name is Tibor Komrowski from MOL, Hungarian Oil and Gas Company, and I head of Process Information and Automation team. So first of all, some numbers about MOL. MOL, an integrated oil and gas company, headquartered in Budapest in Central Europe, and is strong in upstream, midstream, and downstream. I'm arriving the downstream area in a refinery site from Hungary, and MOL operates 4 refinery and 2 petrochemical sites in Central European region, 1 refinery and 1 petrochemical sites in Hungary, 1 petrochemical and refinery in Slovakia, and 2 refineries in Croatia. So in the new strategy, we try to increase the petrochemical capacity, and we would like to upgrade the refinery assets. How can we provide better the petrochemicals? In process information and automation sides, very important, the digital transformation. How can we improve the automation, digitalization technology? And very important, how can we set up the new organization structure which can provide this layer structure? You can see a typical layer structure in industry, in oil and gas industry. As you can see in the different operating way in IT and OT. So a good digital transformation is very important, the IT and OT convergence. So usually OT, the operation technology, operates in level 0, 1, 2, and 3, and IT technology usually operates in level 4, and cloud technology and ERP technology also, where the IT and OT meet in the levels 3, and between level 3 and level 4 in the demilitarized zones. It's very important, the collaboration between 2 teams. So which is the new opportunities and challenges in the 0 layer? In the refinery, we are using the robust industrial sensor and control system, usually mainly hard drive diagnostics, so operates the refinery assets in refinery plant. But nowadays, very important, the new IoT technology. How can we provide absolutely the new data? So new data harvest of the IT technology and big data technology for diagnostic systems. So very important to implement new IoT elements, usually the wireless flexibility, and which provides by cloud services this data lake technology. And layer 0, very important, how can we provide and how can we support the field operators? For field operators, can support the new technology, for example, the drone technology, augmented reality technology, new VR gloves, helmets, HoloLens technology, and of course support the checking the route paths with mobile technology, mobile asset, tablets, and mobile phone. And very important, the new cameras technology for checking the most important assets and checking the technology problem, the technology anomalies also. So the first layer, the field, the control room connection. The standard transmitters, usually the pneumatic standard for 20 milliamperes connection, the hard technology, foundation with field bus technology. It's a absolutely robust technology for support the operation. And how can we improve the data harvest in this technology, especially the diagnostic? How can we checking the and how can we connection the IIoT elements? It's very difficult. How can we choose which is the better technology for the refinery and petrochemical sites? And very important, how can we standardization in the global way, in more group level? So which is the best technology? LoRaWAN technologies in refinery, hard Bluetooth technology, 4G, 5G. So many opportunities, and sometimes very difficult to which is the best way, which is we can choose, and how can we standardize these technologies. So the second layer is the integrated control system, the DCS, ESD system. So very important, how can we improve the operator effectiveness in these layers? So as you can see, the most important challenge is the alarm management. How can we improve the alarm? How can we analyze the alarm behaviors? And also very important, the human-machine interfaces in this level. How can we improve the operator effectiveness with high-performance human-machine interfaces? And how can we create the HMI philosophy in global way? So very important, the training for for operators. We would like to well-train operators in refinery for stable operation of the refinery and petrochemicals. The most important things in the operator training simulator system, we implemented high fidelity many units inside in the refinery and petrochemical site. So it's very important things. Layer third, the operation technology. It includes many elements. Nowadays, very important, how can we improve the cybersecurity of this industrial asset? So not only the cloud and normal IT office asset, most important, the cybersecurity in the industrial. Very important, the effectiveness and energy increasing, the advanced process control. Very important, the corrosion and the process safety management support with corrosion. How can we checking the interlock status? Very important, the control loop tuning and control loop monitoring system, energy monitoring system with many dashboards, and also very important, the maintenance. How can we improve the predictive maintenance inside these assets? And as I mentioned, very important layer in the DeMilitarized zone between layer 3 and layer 4. So it's a bidirectional communication between industrial and office network, and very important, the collaboration, IT and OT. Sometimes the collaboration is very good, sometimes very difficult. And layer 4 in the manufacturer executive system, usually operating the automation people and operation technology, but the normal operation, for example, the operating system, server side, database sides in the IT sides. For example, the new advanced analytics system, the data historian, we are using the OSIs of Pi system, laboratory information system, and very important, tracking the loss management and the data reconciliation, the Sigma Fine system. And very important, also in-house the development in the new way or statistical way. Very important to improve the engineer knowledge with statistical way. We are using many in-house development application in R technology and other technology, for example, Python technology and so more analytics technology. And how can we connection this data to cloud system? Very important data lake strategy in more group. At now, this time we're parallelly running 2 data lake. One data lake in Cloudera Hadoop data lake, which we are using usually the retail system, and we are using the downstream system, the Azure machine learning system, and Azure components which connection the refinery information system. So it is the big challenges and big opportunities layer by layer, and very important for digital transformation. So set up these components and set up the organization strategy and harmonize these organization layers and challenges the new organization. Thank you very much. So we are waiting your questions.
Excellent. A great presentation. Thank you, Tibor. I think very interesting use cases, all of them, and all of them, in a way, they change the way the organization operated, right? So there are changes in processes, there are changes in the capabilities of the people, they are related to these processes. Maybe a first question to the three of you. We can take in the same order of the presentation. First, Ahmed, then George, and then you, Tibor. How do you deal? Have you dealt with the required changes in the organization in terms of organizational structure, new capabilities, new processes? How was that done? Ahmed, would you like to?
Yes. It's let's say it's a little bit general question, but since we are a joint venture company, most of these processes and organizations were supported by our shareholder, Aramco and Total, so they are Total, and if you have like a specific points need to be addressed, it will be better for me to answer.
I would reinforce what Ahmed said on the leadership sponsorship for the transformation. Right? We often take the shortcut of digital being a technology topic, whereas it has 2 other components related to process and people, right? And what we have seen is that while we prepare to deploy technology, we need to rework some of the business processes to readapt them. We have to communicate to the people that are connected and use these processes on a regular basis. We have to also set up regular trainings to prepare the people, right? So there's a change management role that is important. There is a process streamlining, updating, refreshing, and adapting that is needed. And there is a big management sponsorship needed from top to drive the change.
Excellent. Tibor, how was your experience there?
Well, last year we implemented a new organization, the Business Excellence Organization, with main important the connection between the technology, for example, automation departments, IT department, and refinery operations, and the responsible the training of especially the operators, but all engineering training in digitalization. And very important nowadays, not only the blue collar and white collars, also very important the management training. So how can we improve the management knowledge to analyze, for example, the BI reports, and how can we improve the the data-driven and the decision-making of management. It's very important. And now we are also working how can we creating the complex organization between IT and OT. So very important, who is the owner of the digitalization? So it's a big question. So we are working with IT. So finding the ownership of the complex digitalization. So not only the office digitalization, also in automation parts of digitalization and complex digitalization of the companies.
Fantastic. So another element that usually gets in the way of digital transformations is the question of how to fund it, right? So who's gonna put the money for doing the digital investments? Was that an issue in your experiences? You know, is the question of what is the return on this? Should it be the same return that we should have for the rest of the business? And where do we get the money from it? Ahmed, would you like to start?
Yes. In our case, this digitalization was already budgeted part of the project, sector project, and since the construction phase. And also, whenever we are, for example, when I talk about the 3D scanning technology, whenever we are building a new unit, like recently we had built a new unit through Aramco, or we will update some of our units, we will have support from our management to get a budget for such activities.
Excellent. George, you as a vendor, how do you usually get that question on how to fund it and what is the value and what is the return on digital?
Never. Money is flowing like crazy. Everything's okay. Of course, we get that, Jose. I mean, that is obviously the first question and topic that we have to address. Now, let me answer that in two parts. The first one is that what we have seen is that companies like Aramco, Sator, ADNOC, MOL, etc., they already have streamlined a digital strategy with some identified use cases. Okay, so there are some use cases and deployments that they are driving themselves. And the second part is for additional improvement and new programs. We have seen and we have implemented a lot of proof of concepts. If you take the use case of, let's say, predictive analytics on rotating machines, it is usually led through a proof of concept to prove that you can create value and you can catch a fault in advance before it occurs. So that proof of concept is validated or not, and its validation boosts the global deployment within a company. So obviously, and fortunately, by the way, the oil and gas companies are looking at first proven benefits, okay, because a lot of buzz is around digital, and the industry needs to make sure that it is getting the return on the investment it is making, okay, and that can be done either through proof of concepts or sharing use cases and benefits done across other assets within the same industry here and there.
Excellent. Tibor.
Yeah, in our case, we have a fixed capex for safety, the process safety implementation year by year. So very important, safety first. But the other project, very important, the benefit calculation. So we have a strict benefit calculation of all digitalization and all other capex projects. So sometimes it's very difficult for us because at Node, this environment is absolutely changeable environment. So last year we improved opportunity routes in the refineries, so very difficult to tracking the change of these refinery operating modes, and also was very difficult this spring. So COVID-19, so sometimes we decreasing the unit capacity, so very difficult this benefit calculation. But fortunately, we can create benefit in digitalization when we improve the APC models, the energy monitoring models, and energy calculation, and we can improve the yield structure, especially increase the white product yield in the refinery.
Excellent, excellent. You touched on a point, Tibor, that is very interesting. So has COVID-19 in any way impacted your digital programs? Has it accelerated the need for some aspects of digitalization? What impact has it had in your programs?
So the first program, fortunately, we was already in O365 environment in office layer for home office for engineering. So we can switch our discussion and the meetings for Teams meeting and Skype meetings was its easier way of this COVID-19. Was a difficult way. How can we creating the connection to, for example, the industrial layer, the DCS and DCS maintenance and the industrial network maintenance. Fortunately, we can improve the robust and safety connection to this system, and we can decrease the local operation and local maintenance of the DCS system, the privileged user access management in this layer also. So it was very important how can we support the remote work, the remote desktop work inside, and in this after this spring we try to ready this second wave of this COVID and improve the knowledge, the digitalization knowledge of colleagues. Also, how can we better analytics in data. And also very important, the operation, this university in Hungary and Slovakia. So improve this digitalization knowledge especially in the data lake knowledge.
Excellent, excellent. So Ahmed and George, how has COVID-19 changed your or impacted your programs?
In our case, since we are, let's say, a new refinery, so we already have a database and for digitalization. So I think during this COVID-19, I would say that we were already ready in such cases to use our tools. For example, through the 3D model, we can issue, for example, a management of a change request in the unit, or requesting, for example, inspection scope or task without even going to the site or to contact with other employee there. So I think this tool was really a good tool to use, especially during this pandemic.
No, excellent, and that's what we're seeing. The clients that were more advanced in their digital solutions, even in other applications like supply chain agility and flexibility, etc., they have fared better through this crisis than the ones that were lagging on their digital programs. George, any experiences there? How has COVID-19 impacted your clients?
Well, as you rightly mentioned, the customers, the clients that were already engaged on the digital transformation journey, I would say adapted faster to the new way of working and to the constraints we all had in operating. I would say the crisis and the pandemic has accelerated the discussions and the digital transformation journey of many players around several topics, and I will highlight two for the time being. The first one is remote operations, and the second one is asset performance management.
No, excellent, excellent. I think we are almost up with our time for the panel, so I ask one last question for the three of you. So, what was the most difficult barrier to overcome in the execution of your digital programs? So, Ahmed, would you like to be the first one?
Yeah, sure. Maybe one of the difficulties, let's say, that we might sometimes facing during for example, using any of these digitalization tools, is that we have so many data and so many, for example, drawings and documentations that not all had been completely digitalized. And when we want to digitalize those documents, we don't have, let's say, a specific team to do so. It's, sometimes you need an army to do a massive work. So sometimes this is our difficulty, but with support of our management and sometimes using a third-party contractor, we are achieving this step by step.
Excellent. George, what has been the most barrier?
A couple on my end. I will mention in digital transformation. It's as Tibor mentioned it earlier. It's a lot about convergence of IT and OT. Okay, and aligning within the customer these two organizations and synchronizing their actions to drive the project execution on time is sometimes a challenge, as the priorities of the groups are not always the same. And and that's a learning path we've had, and that we now identify from the beginning as an action, as a milestone to complete early in the execution, to make sure all resources are available within the client to implement, right? And that OT and IT are not moving on the project at a different pace. Okay? So that's the first one. And the second one, in some cases, we faced an interest in deploying a digital transformation, but a lack of resources to follow up and drive and sustain the benefits that were created. And again, Tibor mentioned that the most important thing is to create a kind of operations excellence team that is driving, accountable, and coordinating all these actions and sustaining the benefits for the company over the next months and years.
Excellent. Tibor.
So maybe how can we analyze and mapping the process flow, and how can we digitalization the different process? So sometimes very difficult to finding who is the process owner, so ownership, and how can we digitalization, how can we creating the decision for digitalization in this process. And not only simply digitization, also complex transformation of this process is sometimes very, very difficult. And sometimes very difficult, which is the best solution, best application for digitalization these processes. So many colleagues and ownership working on the silos effect. So for example, well-known application or solution, and he or she tried to solve all problem this solution and on this application. Sometimes very difficult, which is the fit application, this digital transformation, complex transformation of this process.
Excellent. Excellent. I think, gentlemen, thank you very much. I think with that, we conclude our panel here. Back to Globak.
I just want to say thank you very much for the presentations and the live discussion. I just want to remind that all the presentations will be on demand available after the conference. So our attendees will have a chance to go through the slides if they have any questions and come back to you later. But once again, thank you very much. And I hope to see you at our next events. Thanks. Let's go to the break.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Tibor, thank
Take
you.
care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.